Alright, sorry it has been a couple of days, guys. Let me just adjust this camera right here. But Aston Villa have drawn with Manchester United, one of our bogey teams in the Premier League. Now, there's some good, some bad, and some ugly to be taken from this game. So we're going to be breaking that all down and going through my personal player ratings, as well as a couple of observations from the game. If you do enjoy this game review content, then please do leave a like, subscribe down below, and comment your thoughts on the United Villa game. One thing I also want to gauge some opinions on: if we get 3 comments on this video or 5 comments on this video, the next game that I will do a live reaction to. So 5 comments down below saying yes, do the live stream when the game is on so that you guys can watch along with me. So in regards to the game in general, it was a pretty boring, dull and drab affair. Manchester United are not a team in a good place right now, and they played about as bang average as Ten Hag has had them playing over the past few months. But Villa were equally as bad, and it just made for an awful watch in terms of a game of football. A lot of loose balls in the final third, no one having that killer instinct, no one able to really string anything together of anything meaningful, if that makes sense. In terms of the stats, I'll throw them up on the screen there for you. Like, it's very, very even. One thing I will say is United were a bogey team for us last season. We lost twice to them. So the fact that we've not dominated, but the fact that we have more possession, more shots overall, and I think on the grand scheme of things, neither team deserved to win, but we probably came closest. I think Fernandes hit the bar from the free kick, but then Jadon Philogene, open goal. Dalot with an absolutely amazing bit of defending to deny him in like the 90th minute, and we were sort of the team that had the most phases of play where we were in the ascendancy, and it looked like we would be the team that would snatch a goal. But to be fair, on reflection, a draw, a very fair result. Neither team played football anywhere near good enough to warrant a win in that game in the Premier League, and we were just so off of it. It's that midweek curse of Villa. If I can find some stats, I'll sprinkle them up on the screen. But after our midweek European games last season, I don't know whether it is a physical or mental lapse that the players seem to be going through. Physically, we seem to be there or thereabouts. The run-in looked good. But mentally, I just don't know if we're quite the same. Now, obviously, there's the injury concerns. Konsa came off. We had no McGinn, no Jacob Ramsey, no Amadou Onana. But that can't be an excuse. You know, United started Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans at the back. We should be rinsing that defence, especially with the likes of Watkins and Rodgers up front. But that mental fatigue, perhaps, from playing up front and having such a big game in midweek, you know, the players would have dumped everything they had mentally and emotionally into that game. It meant so much. Villa Park was rocking, and you kind of see it. I can't remember what it's called. There is an actual sort of like phrase, or there is like a thing to describe it, but you see it a lot in UFC stars and boxers. All of them want to be the world champion, and then when you get to the pinnacle, when you get to the top, the drop-off is always steeper than the rise. And I just wonder if the players are suffering with that a bit. Obviously, we'll have loads of support in the club for things like that, but mentally we just looked a bit off of it, like I say, very, very sloppy. But let's have a look at the individual player performances with my player ratings. And here on the screen you can see my player ratings. Now, a lot of bang average ratings, and we're going to go in depth on every single player for this game. Obviously, injuries were a big issue for us, not our sort of standard back line in regards to how we've been playing this season. Cash obviously missed large chunks, so he came back in after, about a month and a half missing through injury. The midfield, you know, 2 players that aren't regularly in the midfield. Well, actually, really 3 this season, players that haven't regularly been featuring. So it was a bit of rotation, and I think this game came at the right time in regards to going into the international breaks. I feel like all of our players need a rest. I know some are going away on international duty, but we should get a few players back after the break, which is very, very good. In terms of the actual player ratings and individual player performances, Emi Martinez I'm going to give a 7 to. Again, back-to-back clean sheets. Very, very happy with that. Clean sheet, something that we did struggle with in the first sort of 4, 5, 6 games in the Premier League. No clean sheets, and then we've kept one here after keeping one at Villa Park against Bayern Munich. If we can keep that trend going of keeping these clean sheets, the results, the points, they have to start rolling in. We move up to left back, Luca Digne. I think his time might be limited. A decent-ish game, but I think one of the weaker performances against Bayern Munich, and another one this week. Didn't play fantastically against Ipswich either. And I know that Maatsen came on and didn't do particularly well, but Maatsen has been limited to sort of 10 to 30 minute cameos this season. I think after the international break, Maatsen will come in and start taking that left back spot over from Luca Digne. But to be fair, perhaps Luca Digne just needs a bit of a break. I don't know if he got picked for the France national team. I know he did for their last squad. Don't know if he did for this one. But when he's on it and he's fresh, he is very, very good. He's just looked a little bit off of it for me in the last few games. Pau and Konsa. Konsa I'm going to give like an honorary 7 to. Obviously did come off after about 10 minutes, but that 7 can carry over to Diego Carlos, who, since I absolutely bashed him after that Ipswich game, has actually looked really, really decent. I thought he had a great game. He kept Hoyland quiet, won that physical battle, and I thought he was good throughout the game. Pau Torres done Pau Torres things and was his usual Rolls-Royce defendery self. Matty Cash, I'm going to have to give a 5. You know, guys, I'm not the biggest Matty Cash fan in the world. I think we could definitely do better at right back. He gave the ball away very early on when he could have just simply passed it back. That led to Marcus Rashford having the best chance of the first half. I just don't know what he offers going forward, because he runs forward, gets into a decent crossing position, and then perhaps he's just Johan Cruyff's biggest fan and he wants to send one up every game. But the amount of Cruyff turns this guy does backwards just to do a backwards pass is ridiculous. Don't know what he offers going forward. Defensively, I think he can be a bit suspect as well. A 5 for me. Jadon Philogene, for me, one of our better performances on the day. I think he has really proven himself. Could have got that goal late on, but came in at left mid when he started the buying game at right mid because of Leon Bailey being in the team. Defensively, he is so good, so sound. Thought he really, worked well with Digne linking up there, and then obviously eventually moved over to the right-hand side when Bailey came off. But again, going forward, again, good on the ball. I thought a lot better on the ball this game than he was against Bayern Munich. But one of our better performances, and for me, he is really staking a claim that even when McGinn and Ramsey are back, he should still be in this starting lineup. Tielemans, again, another great performance. He has been one of our most consistently good performers this season, a 7 from me. Barkley, 6. Some good moments, some bad moments. He's getting there. And then Bailey, 5. We know he's coming off of an injury. Against Bayern, he was injured before the game. Played 50 minutes before getting subbed off after being subbed on. Carrying a little knock and wasn't very impactful in this game. And then the biggest shock for me, Morgan Rogers, I'd have to give a 5 to. Came across a little bit greedy in this game, a little bit tired and leggy. Now, let's not forget Morgan Rogers. He must have played the most minutes for Villa this season, or joint most minutes this season. He never gets subbed off, really. Plays 90 minutes of pretty much every game. And I think it's catching up to him now. He's going away with the England under-21s, where you'd assume he'll play 2 full 90 minutes as well. So I think we need to figure out how to manage his minutes, because he's starting to look a bit slow, a little bit leggy, and perhaps like he needs a little bit of a rest. And then Watkins, 6, not his usual self, couldn't particularly impact the game. In regards to the subs, no one really had a great impact, so they can all just get blanket 5s. So what are my overall thoughts on this game? Like I said at the start of the video, a 0-0 draw against Manchester United, one of our bogey teams, in the grand scheme of things, isn't bad. However, you look at the circumstances of both teams and you'd have to say that United seemed like they were there for the taking. Even the commentary team were bewildered by how good United were in the first half compared to, or really how poor Villa were in the first half. No one gave United a bat in hell's chance. And it just all harps back to me for the last year and a half or so. Unai Emery has been harping on about how he wants consistency. Consistency. He wants us to be consistent, to implement our style of play consistently, to implement our game plans consistently against Europe, the Premier League and cup competitions. And we just still seem to be struggling, and that's a bit of a worry for me. Like I say, I'm hopeful that after the international break, another little break for the players. A lot of our players will be using this international break to rehab. We might be getting 4 to 6 players back from injury after the international break, which is very, very exciting. But I just want to see more consistency from Villa. There will be Villa content coming over the next couple of weeks, guys, so be sure to like, subscribe for more. As always, up the Villa, be nice to everyone, and I'll see you guys soon.